Listen, we're going to be live. We're going to be live and live and live. And as promised, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted and honored to have Greg Martin on, the Kentucky Headhunters. Greg, delighted to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louis. How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Doing fine, man. Got up early this morning. Normally I stay up late watching Westerns, but I didn't do it last night. I knew I'd going to get up a little earlier. Musicians don't normally get up at 8.
You made me think of an old Lenny Bruce bit where he said about someone calling him at his hotel. And did we wake you? He said, no, I always like to get up 15 hours before I have to go to work or something, something like that. It's an old bit. You just made me think about it. You are an interesting guy. Like you say, musicians aren't up because you're up late at night, but you mentioned Westerns. So it begs the question, favorite Westerns?
Probably my favorite Western is Gunsmoke. I absolutely love Matt Dillon.
The TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. I watch old TV shows. I love Doc, Kitty, Chester, Festus. Matt Dillon is just such a part of my DNA. And I love The Rifleman. I love Rawhide, that type of stuff.
Yeah. I know that there's a channel now that we have that has a lot of the old TV shows. I know Gunsmoke is on, and I think Bonanza.
Yeah, I love Bonanza.
Yeah. Some of that. Any films, any movie, everybody keeps telling me I should watch. And I can't think of the new Western that is very popular on streaming. I don't know. I'm really
out of touch on anything modern. It's terrible, but oh man, no, I couldn't tell you. I love the old John Wayne movies. Yeah. They're great, as far as Westerns go. But I guess my all-time favorite movie, and it's a seasonal movie, of course. It's a Wonderful Life, that. I go back, man.
I love the old movie. I love the old movies. I have a dear friend that always teases me, and he said, "Have you ever seen a movie, Louis, that was actually made in color, that wasn't colorized?" And he teases me about watching the old movies. I said, "There's something about the old movies. There's great new movies. I'm sure there's a lot of great new movies out there, but there's something very special about some of the old movies that I can watch over and over."
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's just something special. And this basement I'm in, it was such a mess up till 2020. But for years I've been on the road. I've been on a bus since 1981, running up and down the road and coming home and dragging stuff in this place. And then finally I got it cleaned out during the pandemic. And so I finally got a new TV downstairs and got it fixed up where I could do interviews like this and hang out, so I got back.
You also do a radio show.
Yes, sir. I've been doing radio about 22 and a half years. It goes back to, I did my first radio show in 86 at a little small station in Mumfordville, Kentucky. I did a thing called Blue Monday, and that didn't last long because I was really busy on the road. But 97, I started what we know as the Lowdown Hoedown at a station in Campbellsville, Kentucky, then moved it down to WDNS in November of 2001. We just celebrated 20 years there. And it's every Monday night from 7 to 10 Central Standard Time, and it streams. And people can check me out all over the world via streaming. And it's WDNSFM.com or D93rocks.com. So it's a blues show, but we take liberties with the genre a little bit. One week we might want to get into Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin. We might want to get into we might want to get into like this next week. Yeah, next week we're going to get into some Band of Gypsies and Buddy Miles Express.
Wow. Yeah, I love Buddy Miles. Yeah,
I do too, man. And this past week we had some Buddy Guy and Albert Collins. It goes all over the place.
There's a theater in the area that just announced that Buddy Guy is going to be playing in the next month or two. And, you know, was it, and don't say this to be disrespectful. I didn't know Buddy Guy was still alive. And I know you've got something up at your Facebook page with Buddy Guy. And I
jammed with him.
Yeah.
A Friday night, I went to Louisville. I had never witnessed Buddy Miles. I'm sorry, Buddy Guy. That's cool. I knew Buddy Miles too. The guys and I did, but Buddy Guy, I had never seen him live. I'd met him, but I went to a show and I know he's drummer, and they got me up to play a song. You know, so it was cool.
Well, I'll bet. So tell me about guitar for you. Take us way back.
Oh man, well, it's my life really. I grew up in a household that had some pretty cool guitars. My dad played a little guitar. My older brother Gary played guitar. I had a cousin that lived with us in Louisville that played guitar. So I grew up around Stratocasters and ES335s, and so I just gravitated naturally to the guitar. And when I saw the Beatles in 1964 on Ed Sullivan, that planted the seed big time. That was a shot heard all over the world, of course, you know. And my generation just wanted to play guitar, grow their bangs out, and get Beatle boots, you know. And so I started, you know, toying around guitar. I had friends at elementary school at the time that played, and they would come by, and we would, the first thing I ever learned, Louis,
you're actually picking up your Stratocaster. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is a newer Strat, but
yeah.
It's cool.
Yay.
The first thing I ever learned on guitar. Ray Charles. Yeah. You know, that was the first thing I learned.
I can't believe Greg Martin just played on my show. You just played the guitar on my show. I'm blown away. Man. Thank you. I'm honored.
You got it. My friend Curly in grade school showed that to me at my house in Louisville. And you know, and of course, the more you learn, the more you'd be addicted to it. And of course, my cousin and my brother took me to see the Lovin' Spoonful in 1966 at Memorial Auditorium, and I went, oh, I loved it. And then we moved from
the Lovin' Spoonful.
Oh yeah, Zal, John, Joe, and Steve. You know, and it was the original band, and it really did a number on my spirit, man. I loved it. And then we moved from Louisville to Metcalfe County, about 110 miles away, to rural America. And all I had at that point, Louis, was an AM radio that I could listen to Chicago radio at night, you know, WCFL, WLS. Every now and then I might pull in Cleveland radio. Matter of fact, I had a really dear friend that you'll know who he is. He's passed on. Did you ever know who Ron Britton was? Did you grow up in Cleveland?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ron, go ahead. Tell me about it.
Well, Ron Britton was a DJ. Man, he's from Louisville, Kentucky. And back in '68, he had an underground show on WCFL.
Oh, how cool.
And it was called the Subterranean Circus. And I'd listen to that every Sunday night, you know. He was my...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I was going to say, Ron, before he went to Chicago, he was at Cleveland. Matter of fact, he introduced the Beatles, you know, when they played there. And I can't tell you what station he worked at, but he was known as Ron the King Bee Britton.
Oh, cool. Wasn't that great? I mean, you could get, back in the day of AM radio, you could get those signals at certain times from far away, and they would bounce. Yeah.
That was the beauty of it, Louis. That was the beauty. When I lived in Louisville, we had WTMT, which was the country station. We had the soul station, WLOU. We had our two rock stations, WAKY, WKLO. And those were great. But at night in Louisville, it was a little harder to, you know, but every now and then you might pull in WLS and you might pull in WLAC out of Nashville. But when I moved to Metcalfe County, you know, there was no stations around. So, man, I was pulling in, you know, the Chicago stations, WCFL, WLS, WOWO out of Fort Wayne, WLAC out of Nashville. Every now and then I get New York and New Orleans,
Isn't that, it was wild. Yeah. And younger people.
It was great, man. It was an adventure.
I remember when you said that, I remember picking up, forgive me, Greg, but I remember picking up a station, and I think it was in Kentucky, maybe it was Tennessee, that would play blues. And oh God, I just remembered that. I mean, when I was
WLAC.
Yeah.
It was WLAC. It was Big John R.
Wow.
It was Big John R. He played the blues out of WLAC. That was a big turning point for me hearing him. And, he sounded African American, right? Kind of. But he was Jewish. He was a Jewish fella. And back in the 80s, back in the 80s, they had a benefit for him. And I went to that, and they had like B.B. King, James Brown, Ruth Brown, Rufus Thomas, Carla Thomas, Charlie Daniels showed up, and they brought him out in a wheelchair. And it was amazing. That was around 86.
Tell me his name again. Tell me his name again.
His name was Big John R.
Okay.
Yeah, look him up. John R. And he was on WLAC Nashville. And there are air checks out on YouTube. There should be some air checks out there.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
And Hoss Allen was on there too. Hoss Allen. Great station, man. I think they may have played country during the day. And at night, they played nothing but stone blues. And they were always talking about Ernie's Record Mart,
Ernie's, oh my God, that did it.
That's
it. When you said, I mean, I'm talking about, what, 50 years ago?
Right?
Yeah. And when you said Ernie's Record Mart, that did it. Oh my God, Craig Martin.
It's Ernie's Record Mart.
Yeah.
You could buy they had the special. You could buy 345s for a certain, and man, they were selling. They were selling baby chicks, they were selling Hoyt's cologne, they were selling soul medallions and all kind of cool stuff. But I always thought that John R. was African American.
Yes,
because he had that voice, and I didn't know until the 80s that he was actually a Jewish gentleman.
Well, listen to you.
Playing the blues.
Go ahead. I'm not getting in your way.
That's what we learned from John R.
Oh God,
the blues, man.
Greg Martin playing on my show. I'm blown away.
Well, man, Cleveland, Ohio's got such great rock and roll, man. Had a friend that grew up near the area, Phil Kagi. You know who Phil Kagi is?
I went to school with Phil Kagi.
You went to school with Phil?
Yeah. Phil was, I think, a year or two older than me. Phil was just, Phil. I can't believe you brought up Phil.
He's a dear friend. Glass Harp.
Glass Harp. I remember. Oh, well, you're really bringing back the memories now. I remember they played at a place called the Freak Out. I'm trying to think of another place.
Love it.
Oh, Phil Kagi. Yeah. Oh, and I knew his sister. He had a younger sister.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but I know you're talking about.
Has a younger sister. Wow. You are blowing my mind today.
Oh man, but hey, look, you had the James Gang in that area.
The James Gang,
you had Glass Harp, you had the Raspberries, you had the Outsiders.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about Cleveland.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh, because I'm right between.
Well, Pittsburgh, yeah, Pittsburgh's great. Cleveland. Did you listen? Did you hang out in Pittsburgh a lot?
No, I a bit. When I was younger. But I went to Pittsburgh a lot for good times and
there was a DJ. There was a DJ on AM radio over there named Brother Love. He had an underground show.
Oh wow!
You know who he is?
You've got a great memory too.
Most generally, I can't tell you what I did yesterday. Well, I can. Actually.
Yeah, no, I know what you. I isn't that fun? That's something about the aging process. You and I were talking about it off air earlier. You can remember something really clearly, and it's like, what was that? What am I in this room for now? What am I doing here I'm talking with Greg Martin. You're listening to the Louis B. Free radio show, Brain Food from the Heartland. Oh God, Phil Kagi. Yeah, that's just.
Oh, his dear friend. I need to call Phil. We talked about a year ago, and I love him so much. He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
And hey, how about guitar Glenn Schwartz?
Glenn Schwartz. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
he original guitars for James Gang, went on to do Pacific Gas and Electric. You know,
I
he played on
love Pacific Gas. Yeah, Pacific Gas Electric. What a great band. We were talking about Buddy Miles. I can remember when I got my Electric Flag, the first album.
Michael Bloomfield. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Michael Bloomfield, man. My first one of my first licks I ever learned was I learned that from Michael, man, you know, off of a Super Session.
Super Session. Oh yeah, with Al Cooper. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, a great album. Oh,
we grew up through a great period, Louis. That's
a great period. Yeah, lots of great music. Oh wow, that's incredible when you're saying that, and some of the memories. And again, Phil, when he was Phil Kagi, and oh
yeah, man.
Becky Headhunters, Greg Martin. Go ahead.
You should get Phil to call in sometime.
I should.
You should. He'd do it. I know he would. You know.
Oh yeah. He was a really, really good guy. And they played I don't say like a reunion concert, a glass harp, just I think it was a few years back. I don't know. Again, that's the other age thing. Was it a few years back? Was it 10 years ago? I don't know. Was it 15 years ago?
Well, glass harps still get together periodically. I've jammed with them 3 or 4 times, and I'm happy to say that I'm friends with Daniel, John, and Phil. I love those guys dearly. And they were part of my growing up as a musician, you know, hearing the glass harp albums. And
the glass harp.
I knew their legend before I even heard them. I used to when I lived in Metcalfe County, I'd go back to Louisville to hang with friends. I had these friends that were always up on the latest happenings, and one of them said, "Hey man, we went to Ludlow's Garage in Cincinnati, and we heard this band called Glass Harp, and the guitar player makes it sound just like a violin."
A violin. That's right. I remember that with it. Yeah.
You know, he do that little number.
Okay.
I can't do it like Phil. You know?
You're doing it. You're doing it. What amp are you plugged into?
I've got a car Mercury V back behind the curtain. That way it's not in my ear, blowing my ear out. It's actually it gets pretty loud.
You've got quite a guitar collection.
Yeah, I got.
What can you tell us?
I got quite a few. I don't have. Let me put this down.
Talking with Greg Martin.
I don't have the old ones like I used to, but I still got a few old ones. I'll see if I can turn this around and show you what I got here.
Okay, for listeners, right, and again, most people are listening. Oh God, Les Paul.
You folks listening, we got an original 1958 Les Paul.
58 Les Paul.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and I got hip to those because of Michael Bloomfield and John Sebastian and Jimmy Page and people like that. I got this. This came from Hank Williams Jr. a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it belonged to him, and that's a long story, but he bestowed that on me. And that's my prize. We call that Hank the Plank.
Hank the Plank. So you don't want to tell that story.
Well, more or less. Yeah, I don't mind telling you. Back in 90, well, we have to go back to like 1988 when I was playing with Ronnie McDowell. I was out on the road, and Doug Phelps, who's the bass player with the Headhunters, he and I were both playing with Ronnie, and we were playing outside the Jackson, Mississippi Coliseum one night. Hank was inside. We were playing a smaller stage outside with Ronnie, and this fella with long hair walked up and was watching us play. And he walked up afterwards and said, "Hey, I'm Bud Phillips. I'm Hank's guitar tech. Wow. Would you like to come over and watch the show after you play?" And I went, "Yeah." He gave us a couple of passes. I think he gave everybody the band passes. And so we went over and got on the side of the stage. We watched Hank. And I remember somebody in the band, I don't think it was Animal Turner. It was another fella, was playing this guitar. That was the first time I ever seen it. And then if you fast forward to 1989, the Headhunters released Picking on Nashville. By spring of 1990, we were touring with Hank, and that guitar was out there on the road. They initially loaned this guitar to me to use on the video for "Oh Lonesome Me," and I kept the guitar all summer. Hank didn't care, and when I took it back to him on the bus in Nashville, oh gosh, I think it may have been even 91, and he was celebrating his birthday. He was feeling really good. He said, at the end of the conversation, I was giving the guitar back. He just ended up letting me take it. And I gave him a couple of guitars, and he gave it to me. And that's my prize right there.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a
great... Hank bestowed that on me. I love that guitar, and we love Hank. We're actually going to be playing with Hank. I can't tell you the date. It's coming up in this summer. You know, we haven't played with Hank in a long time.
Wow, but wow, you're going to be playing with that. That's
Hank Jr. Matter of fact, it should be on my Facebook page. I think it was just announced yesterday.
Yeah. Again, we've got that link up.
Beaver Dam, Kentucky. Hank Jr. and the Kentucky Headhunters.
I see it. Hank Williams Jr. The 12th of August.
That's it, man.
Kentucky Headhunters. Wow.
Yeah,
Beaver Dam, Kentucky. Oh.
Yep.
It's going down to the dam, Beaver Dam. I love that.
I love that. Yeah, the Dam Jam.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's very cool. And the other. So you've collected guitars. I mean, do you want to mention
I've collected guitars for years. I used to have a lot more old vintage guitars, but as I'm getting older, I decided to keep the ones that I thought I would really. I mean, I still got another 20, 30 newer guitars around the house here, but these are the older ones.
So you've got how many guitars do you think total? Like 40? 50?
Oh, I probably got 40, 45 guitars. Yeah. Hey man, not like Joe Bonamassa. My friend Joe's got way more than I do. And there's other guys. This right here is a really cool guitar. It's a 64 ES335. It belonged to Travis Womack. And if you look up Travis Womack, he was a studio player in Muscle Shoals. This guitar was used on Baby Don't Get Hooked on Me. It was hooked on Osmond. It was used on Osmond Brother Records, and it was used in Muscle Shoals a lot. This right here is a 62 ES335 right here. Can't really see it. That's a nice guitar. This is Ed King's old ES345, 64. And then I got a 57 Strat back here, 1957 Strat. And then this is a Billy Gibbons model, Pearly Gates guitar. So that's a few things I've got around here. And I've got a Telecaster. I got Tellys and Strats and Gretches, things to make noise.
For me to ask you your favorite, I mean,
if you had the 58 Les Paul.
The 58 Les Paul.
Yeah. And that's my guitar.
Why are you able to explain it to people that aren't familiar with the difference between a Les Paul and a Strat? And I mean, what is it about the 58 Les Paul, Greg Martin?
Well, it goes back to when I saw the Lovin' Spoonful in November 1966. John Sebastian was playing a 59 Les Paul. Wow. And I had no idea what a Les Paul was at that time. And I was just smitten by that guitar. And I was just taken back the way it looked. It looked like I don't know. I can't even describe it. It was just a small guitar. And then if you fast forward to 68, I saw the cover of Super Session and Michael Bloomfield with his cool big afro and playing that guitar. And then I heard the tone. And then, then you go on into the 70s hearing Jimmy Page and people like Joe Walsh and Billy Gibbons, the Allman Brothers. They all had 58, 59 Les Pauls. And I just love the tone of it. It's a different thing. I love Strats and I love Telecasters, but I just love that 58 Les Paul. There's just something, it fits right. It just feels right.
Yeah, it feels that's it. Let's talk. There's so many things I want to talk with you about.
Okay.
The album, that's a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
Tell us about the new album.
Well, That's a Fact, Jack was released back in October. And we're just now, as you know, the way you promote albums now, it takes longer to do that. You know, I think there's 2 singles been released. How Could I? And the title track, That's a Fact Jack. Man, you know, going back to 2019, it was a normal year for us. We were touring, we worked, we played a lot of dates. And then as we left 2019, going into 2020, we ended up doing, we started into 2020 thinking we were going to have a really, really good year. And I think we ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 dates before the pandemic hit. And we played our last pre-pandemic show at the Birchmere in Alexandria, Virginia, in February of 2020. Then we were going to have a break through March, and then we were, you know, then we were going to start touring again. But as you know, when we went home, about a week later, dates started falling out. Dates started getting moved. Things started locking down, and then we ended up the whole year ended up playing maybe 9 dates. And the very end of the year, I ended up getting COVID myself, or diagnosed with it, and I had to stay home. And I missed one show. But with that said, you know, we were going to get together at the end of November and start working on song ideas for the album. And by the time I got over COVID or the quarantine period, it was Thanksgiving, that we're going into Christmas. We said, well, let's just get together in January and we'll reconvene and we'll start working on ideas. And then we had some weather hit in January, but we finally got in the studio in February and started working on it. And by April, it was finished. And going through all the paperwork, label stuff, it finally was released in October. So 12 songs.
It's great. And I love the album, but I've got to ask you, COVID for you again, you know, having it personally, but not being able to play, what was that like for you? You're used to playing. Like,
not good. Well, number one, you know, being isolated, it was just the strangest year. It wasn't a terrible, terrible year. It was a mixed blessing because there was things I got done here at the house that had been putting off for years, you know, like cleaning up the basement. You know, I had time to spend with my family, and just, I don't know, it was, after so many years being on a bus, it was good to be home. But it was, you know, not getting to play music wasn't good because we were going to have a great year. You know, at the end of the year, you know, getting COVID, it was strange, you know, but I made it through it okay, you know. I mean, it wasn't a bad case. It wasn't a bad case. But another thing, when I did have COVID, I was really fatigued, and I didn't hardly pick a guitar for 2 weeks. I almost lost my calluses, which was really strange.
You almost lost your calluses.
I did.
That's the first time, and right, first time for you.
Yeah, I mean, I always play guitar. I mean, I don't play nonstop at home, but for me not to play guitar for 2 weeks, you know, that's really weird, you know. And my calluses got soft, and plus we didn't play much in 2020. We didn't play much. Now last year we ended up doing 45 dates, and which was, you know, it's okay. That's still not what we normally do, and this year should be pretty good as well. And you know, the new album's out there, and you can check it out. I mean, you could go on YouTube and look up That's a Fact Jack, and you could hear all the tracks. Then you can order it to however you buy music, whether it be Amazon.
Different these days, right?
Yeah, it's a different thing, man. You can get the CD. It's not on vinyl, but you can download it. You can stream it, and it's out there, man. It's a good, solid band album. I feel.
It's fantastic, and I get really good response playing from it. It's absolutely wonderful. The writing process. What's the writing process when you're writing a song, Greg Martin? What's that like for you?
It's all over the place. A lot, you know, this last album was different because we didn't have the luxury of getting together like we thought we would. A lot of the really special songs are like getting together at the old practice house in Metcalfe County and just started, like Dumas Walker. It just fell out of the sky. You know, we started jamming and it came out of the sky. Sometimes songs come out of jam sessions. Then folks bring ideas from home, like Doug Phelps. He had some demos that he did at his little home studio he would bring in. Then we would tear them apart, make them Headhunter songs. Richard had some really good song ideas. Let's All Get Together and Fight. That's a Back Jack, Watercolors in the Rain, and really, really solid stuff. There's other stuff on there too. Fred brought Gonna Be All Right, Cup of Tea. One of the first songs I ever wrote from 1973, we brought forward Shotgun Effie, which was about Richard and Fred's grandmother. You know, we had originally recorded that as Itchy Brother in 1973, released in 74 on a very small 45. And we thought, well, we're getting older. Why don't we revive that song for this album? And I screeched through it and made through it. I tried to sing it anyway.
What was it like for taking a song that you did that many years ago? And then,
well, I originally thought my idea was well, can we change it up a bit? Can we go back and listen to it, but can we bring it forward and make a little difference? But when we started on it in the studio, it was like going back to 73, but only difference, you know, we've learned how to play a little better. You know, we're more in the groove. And, you know, back when I was playing slide in 73, it sounded like a cat getting run over by a steamroller. So I think maybe the slide's better, the groove's better. I can't say the singing's any better because I don't sing that much, but it was hard singing in the same key, but it was fun bringing it forward. You know, it really was.
Back to Itchy Brother, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What were those days like for you?
Oh, Itchy Brother was the best rock band I was ever in. And that was Richard, Fred, our cousin Anthony, and me. And that started in 1968. The roots started for that for 1968. We went through name changes, but by the 70s, we were called Itchy Brother. And by the end of the 70s, we were just about to get signed by Swan Song Records. And then John Bonham passed away, and Swan Song Records were put on the shelf for a while. So we had to veer off and do different things after that for a little bit, you know.
So what was that like? There you were, right, ready. Tell me about
well,
that.
It was heartbreaking. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, our dream was in the 70s, you know, we want to, country music really, even though we were around country music in South Central Kentucky, and Nashville wasn't that far away. That just wasn't something we were really wanting to pursue. Man, we were listening to Humble Pie, Led Zeppelin, Montrose, Johnny Winter. You know, we were listening to Allman Brothers or whatever, Queen, you know, and that's what we were aspiring to be. We wanted to be a good rock blues band, and we were. I feel like we were. And the cool thing, it was a 3-piece band, and we had Richard singing lead, and Richard would pick up guitar every now and then, but most of the time it was like we were kind of modeling the band after we were influenced by Zeppelin, but I think I always figured that band had a Led Zeppelin, Montrose type thing going, you know, and in a hillbilly way.
In a hillbilly way. Tell me about that.
Yeah, in a hillbilly way, man. Yeah, I always call it psychobilly, I guess. But anyway, it was a really good band. We played in the South. We played, you know, Nashville. We played up north a bit, and just wasn't in the cards for us to sign the deal with Swan Song. And so after 81, we had to go our separate ways and do different stuff, which was beneficial in what would come later with the Headhunters. You know, the Headhunters were put together in 86 for fun.
For fun. Tell me about that, Greg.
Well, in 81, it became apparent that Itchy Brother wasn't going to get signed. Disco had reared its head, and the Swan Song deal had kind of gone away. And I had gotten married, and I had to take a job. I took a job with Ronnie McDowell out in Nashville. Richard went to work for Acuff Rose writing songs. Fred went to work for Sylvia. The very first day I started with Ronnie McDowell, I met Doug Phelps, who's our singer now. And so there were just things that had to happen to make the Headhunters become the Headhunters. We all had to do different things. And in 1986, even though I loved my job with Ronnie McDowell, it was a very steady job. I was learning stuff. I was working. I was getting to do TV. I was getting to do recording sessions. And it just became apparent that we all missed playing with each other, Richard, Fred, and I. And we initially were going to bring our cousin Anthony back into the fold, but he didn't want to do it at the time. And so we ended up inviting Doug Phelps up, and the Headhunters were born in spring of '86.
But staying together, we hear stories about bands and conflict, etc. What do you think the special chemistry is with the Kentucky Headhunters?
Well, first off, it's a family. You don't always agree on stuff.
Yeah, sure.
But there has to be, the glue has to be love. There's a deep love for each other, deep respect. When this thing is all over, I can't imagine, because there's bands that break up and they won't even speak to each other, and I can't imagine that. I God forbid that ever happened to us. There's just a deep love and respect for each other. Richard, Fred, and I go back to 1968. Even though we all had to veer off and do different things at times, it didn't play. We could just pick right up. It's just like a true friendship. You can always pick up with your friend. You can be apart for 2 years and bring it right back together where you were.
Yeah,
that's why our band, it was always like that.
When you say that, I mean, if there's disagreements or whatever, different opinions or whatever, you work it out.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you want to, right? You don't.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we've had, as you know, the band, the original Headhunters started in '86 is the lineup we have now. That's Doug on vocals, Richard on vocals and guitar. Doug plays bass, but Fred on drums, me on guitar. That's what started the band. Then we brought Doug's brother Ricky Lee in a little later, and he's on Picking on Nashville and Electric Barnyard. And '92, the band imploded. Doug and Ricky went off to do their own thing for a little bit, but then Doug came back around '95, and we've had a few different members in, and they've all been really good lineups. But I feel like the lineup now, the lineup with Ricky Lee was magic. He's great, but this lineup is real. That's the way it started, and probably that's the way it'll end, whenever it's supposed to.
Never supposed to. That's interesting how you say that.
Oh, I hope we keep going, but God only knows, right?
Yeah, God only knows. Yeah, I have to tell you, Greg, your modesty just blows me away with all the successes and all you've done.
Oh man, I'm blessed. That's all I can tell you, man. I've had a great run for a bumpkin from Metcalf County. I fell off the turnip wagon many years ago, and somebody kicked me to Nashville, and then it's just fate, the way I look at it, man. It was just what I was meant to do, and I never forget that it's been a gift, and
it's beautiful.
It's been a gift, everything we do, and the rest of the guys are the same way. Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, they were all meant to do this too. I feel like I was meant to play guitar in a band. I was meant to play with Richard and Fred, and there's just too many little connecting stories that happen the way they happen. It's like God planned it all. Wow.
You've got an incredible attitude of gratitude. That blows me away.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very, very gracious. I'm just very, very glad that things, God's opened some great doors for us, Louis. It's been amazing.
That's beautiful.
It's been amazing.
Great, Martin. I'll tell you, time flew by. I would love to get you back and continue the discussion. I'm serious. I love that. And that's a fact, Jack. Love the album. I'm thrilled that you're out on the road. Yeah. So we'll do this again. Please.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
I loved it. I can't believe you played on the show. I can't believe you picked up the guitar and actually played.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to do that. That was okay. Go for it.
I'll play you guys some little outhouse music for Kentucky. There you
Oh,
go.
I'm so grateful. Thank you, Greg Martin. Thank you. Kentucky Headhunters. We've got the links up at louisfreeshow.com, WFMJ.com. We've got them also to the music and buy the album, etc. Headhunters.net. Thank you so much, man. I'm
Thank you, Louis.
I'm blown away by you. Thank
Keep
you.
it free, Louis.
You know it.
Louis and the home of the free. There you go, man.
Thank you, Greg Martin. You are the best. Thank you. How cool is that, folks? How